south of Portland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Authentic Mexican food is not always easy to find, but you can find it in Lincoln at Tacos Los Hermanos. Their birria tacos are worth the drive from anywhere in town, but their chicken, chorizo, al pastor, and asada tacos are also worth the trip. You can also try any of those meats in a burrito or quesadilla. You won't find a better toppings bar in the area or better dessert options. If you can't get there, don't worry, they do deliver as well. Stop by Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock Streets in Lincoln.
Your new Total Wine in Lincoln has the largest selection of wines, spirits, and beers, plus totally low prices and friendly service from our helpful guides. With over 8,000 wines, 4,500 spirits, and 2,500 beers, you're sure to find your favorites and something new. You can even order delivery, in-store, or curbside pickup. Find what you love what you find, only at Total Wine and More. Now open in Lincoln next to Gateway Mall.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT, from cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington.
All right, welcome in. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. Got the former Husker tight end on the Allo VIP line. Really understand the important service or the important customer service with an exceptional heart. So once again, shout out Allo for providing us with clean connections through all of our Allo VIP line shows, as that would be a pretty dire situation if a call dropped out for any unexpected reason. So once again, Allo VIP, shout out to them as we bring Chancellor Brewington on what has been a beautiful Monday night in. Chancellor, how's it going?
Man, it's going great. I'm blessed to be on this, not in the studio, but on the ticket, man, and had a great weekend and a great start to the week.
Yeah, I mean, your week's great. I'm sure the Lakers' week's great. I bet you they're in Cancun right about now. Things are up. All right, that was the only jab I was going to do. I'm done with the Lakers. I'll officially leave you alone on it.
That was a good one. I mean, you kind of set the table up. We got to get into the playoff bracket, the updated playoff bracket. Game one of the second round of the playoffs with the Thunder and Nuggets is happening as we speak. I'm sure you probably have it pulled up on the TV.
Yeah, right now I just got the ticket pulled up. I'm tracking the scores right now. I tell you what, I do a huge disservice to the Bowlers before because I know my eyes would be glued to that game. So I had to make a professional decision to make sure I was there and present for the last show. As the Bowlers, they got third place this year. I'm not going to just show up and act like I'd much rather watch this NBA game. So no, shout out to the Bowlers on the last show, but I've been keeping track.
Shout out to the Bowlers.
Yeah, and it's 24-20 for end of the first quarter right now. So towards the end, they got a minute left. But yeah, Bowlers got third place. So as I said, I had to give them their due respect.
That's amazing. We've talked about the Bowlers a few times on here, just kind of shouting out how tough of a sport it is, and I mean just the mental component of it, having to be one-on-one with yourself and having to compete at a high level and really have no one to bounce. I mean, there's a team aspect to it, but at the end of the day, it's just you and you.
Yeah.
But
it's really
shout
like
out
golf.
to them.
Yeah, I mean the best technology. It's really like golf, in terms of like the mental focus, because all you're doing all day, every day, is trying to recreate the same shot over and over and over, even to a little bit more extent, because it's the same thing as golf, right? Like you got day 1, 2, and 3. You're golfing 9 holes, 18 holes. The Bowlers, when they go out to their tournaments, it's days 1, 2, and 3. Just to set up that last day. So it's just it's a sport that requires a lot of mental fortitude, I think. And I think those guys don't always get the credit they do for that, because it's just, it's team sport, but when you're up there and it's your time to bowl, your team's on up there with you. They're all behind you, watching your every step, hoping that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in order for the team to win. There's a lot of pressure in it. So always salute those guys for being able to have that much success for that long. Coach Klempa deserves a lot of credit for it as well. But that's our shout out to the Bowlers, and we'll get those guys again tomorrow and then next week as well, so we won't spend too much more time on it. But yeah, absolutely right to give them their fair share of credit. NBA, though, you want to dive right into the second round, or do you want to talk a little bit about an awesome Game 7 between the Nuggets and Clippers? Not so much of an awesome Game 7 between the Warriors and Rockets, but that, I shouldn't say it was awesome between the Clippers and Nuggets either, as they were up by 30. But it was a fun game for Russell Westbrook. He got a little bit of revenge. You got to remember, Clippers got rid of Chris Dunn, or they got rid of Russell Westbrook for Chris Dunn. And Russell Westbrook dominated that game. I mean, he really did. Coming off the bench, that last steal where he gets the technical, who turned that one over? Chris Dunn. I mean, I think that was the ultimate kind of middle finger from Russell Westbrook, saying, stop undervaluing me. Like, I'm not an egomaniac, but like, I just want to win. And if you put me in the right position, I'm still one of the best damn players in the league. And he proved that in that series. He was incredibly important, especially the way Jokic started out slow. Murray started out slow. It was all the role players, and then Russell Westbrook off the bench to ignite a lot of that offense going. So I had to give him his credit right then and there, because it wasn't even the Jokic game. He sat out the entire fourth quarter, as he already had 5 fouls heading into it. Didn't need him. The rest of the team really stepped up. And if you're a Nuggets fan, that is a great sign, because you saw it last year. This team, you can't just have Jokic play well and expect to make it through the entire series. Like, you're going to need those other guys to step up. Brown certainly did it. He had a big game. Aaron Gordon, my Lord, when he has those really good games, he is still one of the best finishers in the league, and he was huge in that one too. So that sets up the slate for this Nuggets Thunders game that's going on right now, 26-26. All right, Brewington, the floor is yours. I wanted to put that out there because set the stage for a little bit of how we got here.
Yeah, no, I'm on par with you. I think the Thunder series was like a Thunder Memphis. We kind of knew that was going to happen. That's not a shock to the system, but the Nuggets Clippers was a great series. I mean, you get a first round Game 7, which of course Thunder gets a good nice little probably a week and a half rest. because obviously they get a sweep and Denver has a 7-game series, so they're resting for a little bit. They're probably fresh to the series, and Nuggets are, they're just going to have to rally. But I think the thing about this series is going to tell a lot about the seasoned team. You got a lot of core pieces there, obviously with Jokic, Murray, and what's the
Michael Porter Jr. or Christian
Michael
Brown?
Porter Jr. Yes. So you got some like familiarity with the championship team. They've gone deep into the playoffs multiple times. And so I think you're going to see like the seasoned vets against the rookies, and the young got the firecrackers where they're going to get hot early, and they might blow them out one game, right? But like how exactly is that going to translate for the whole series? We're going to find out tonight. We're going to find out in the week to come. So I think this is a series I have my eyes on. Like this is going to be a fun one for the West to find out. Like who is OKC? Is OKC a team that is only good in the regular season? Is OKC a team that has taken the step? They've obviously have 3 big stars. I would say with J-Dub, Chet, and obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So like you got some good talent, of course, a well-built roster. The average age is like 23 or 24 right now. So how does that compare to what the Nuggets have going on? And I feel like OKC has kind of followed their format to where, you got some draft picks, you build some guys up, you have a well-equipped roster, not only 1 through 5, but like I think it's like 1 through 7 1 through 8 that like really are at the core of their team. And that's kind of the Nuggets formula back in the day. Of course, you don't really have, the big and stuff like that with Jokic, but the formula of like building a solid core team around a star player, kind of, you got your Jokic, and then on OKC, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So I think it's awesome. And I think we're going to see a lot from the series.
Yeah. And the one thing, what makes the Nuggets so tough is, again, kind of going back to that game 7 with the Clippers, like Jokic was not pretty to start that game. I think he was like 0 for 7 at one point in time. But the difference between Jokic and other players, like Jamal Murray, for instance, when he starts the game off cold, he turned it on towards the end, but it was a really slow start for him. He didn't have a whole lot of impact in the game. Jokic, even when things aren't going great, he racked up 7 assists in that first quarter. Maybe it was 6, but I mean, he's still finding ways to grab rebounds and assists and just really good high IQ plays, setting his guys up in the right spot. And that's not counting all the hockey assists and just the pace of play. Because if Jokic isn't out there early, that pace of play isn't there. And then all of a sudden the Clippers start off with a 7-point lead. It's probably closer to like 14. They probably built that up to almost 20 if Jokic isn't in that game. Just making the right plays to give them some opportunities in transition when their half-court offense was really woeful to begin the game. And that's going to be the key for this one too, especially against it's a younger team. They're quick, they're athletic, but you can still catch a lot of those guys sleeping defensively because you pick up on those expertise like Draymond Green. Whatever you say about him, he's a master of it, figuring out where he needs to be on defense. What is the most likely outcome that this offense is trying to force the defense to do right now? And you can kind of read who they're trying to get open for the shot and who's the guy, who's their backup, who's their B. And I just think a young Thunder team, that might be the biggest thing for them to hurdle is how sound is your defense now that it's postseason play? Things are slowed down a lot more. Can you cue in on those quick passes that Denver's so good at? And then we talk about Jokic a lot because he spearheads it, but that's a lot of the beat of this team. You can argue that they've lost some talent, but they still got a lot of those same guys. Like Aaron Gordon looks better and better every year playing alongside Nikola Jokic because that chemistry, like every time you see Jokic go down the lane, you see Brown cut, you see Aaron Gordon cut, you'll see Jamal Murray wrap around, find an open space. All those guys instinctively are so good at knowing what to do when Jokic starts going towards the rim. And if you just keep moving players around, yes, we'll have good athletes, but that team chemistry just isn't going to be there the same way that it is now. So that's to me the real challenge of OKC is it sounds cheesy, but it's like, can you compete with the team chemistry that the Nuggets have? And can you stay alive at home? To you, how important is it that the Thunder, if they want to win the series, win these first 2 games at home? To me, it's absolutely vital.
Yeah, I think you gotta steal these. You got to steal this one in particular. Now, Because I mean, we see this all the time. You go down 0-1, and you just give hope where it isn't necessary. So I think winning this one, winning the next one will be big for OKC. But I mean, you're battling a seasoned squad, so me just saying, just get this one and get the next one is drastically harder than what you just went through with the Grizzlies, right? Or what you went through in the regular season. Because, it's just you have that stardom that with Jokic, and, you never know what's going to happen with Jamal Murray. We've talked about him, and I know you're a big fan of him in the playoffs, and his numbers are ridiculous. And so if he can continue that, especially in a series where it's going to be a lot of guard play with, him and Shea Gill. So I think that'll be huge.
Yeah, right now you're having that guard battle. Jamal Murray, again, this end of the first quarter, just wrapped up with it. Jamal Murray sitting there, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 12 points. Shea, not far, but he's just slightly ahead. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 14 points. So you're having a good guard matchup right there. And again, I think going back to, if you're the Thunder, need is too strong of a word, but it is very vital, I think, for you to go 1 and 2, take care of them at home. I think OKC has one of the sneaky best home venues out there. Take advantage of it. The crowd, for whatever reason, OKC's crowd always feels like a college game. I don't know if it's just because they do such a good job with all the T-shirts. You don't see any billionaires on the sideline. And I'll say this much. I don't care about billionaires on the sideline. This is my pet peeve. Quick tangent. We can go back to business here. How do you feel about these people on the sideline? I don't care if you got courtside tickets and you're a millionaire. Put on a damn jersey or just something. It drives me nuts when I see a guy in a nice polo shirt, and he's got his corduroys on and his loafers. I'm like, I can't tell if you're here for a business meeting or if you're here to watch your favorite team play. I'll never understand that. To me, it always drives me nuts when I see all the people get the best possible seats in the house and they don't even rep the team while they're sitting there on TV for the entirety of the game. That stuff drives me insane. Is that, again, I feel like I asked this too many times of you. Is that like an old man take, or do I just need to get over that?
Everyone listening, you have just entered into Harrison's old man rant. He just channeled his inner older man. So that's all that was.
That doesn't bother you at all?
You said what?
That doesn't bother you at all?
No, I mean, wear your best outfit. You're probably going to be on camera.
All right. I'd recommend it. I think you can afford a team jersey. I'm just saying, if you're going to take the best seats in the house, maybe represent the team that you're there for, that you're there to watch. That's all I'm saying. But they're grown adults. They can wear their $1 billion suits, $1 million suits, whatever. I just think a jersey would be nice from time to time. But circling back, we'll leave them alone. 34-26 Thunder. I'm just saying, if the Thunder drop one of these, you do not want to win a game in the 15-80. I mean, the Denver do, in my case, it's pretty clear, have the best home court advantage. It's just a nightmare of a place to play. Not because of the crowd necessarily, but that altitude, it's a real thing.
Yeah, you don't want to give them a sliver of hope, because that could just come back to bite you. And especially it's just, I'm going to come back to it, man, the guard play with Jamal Murray. If he gets hot and you have Jokic, and Jokic is such an interesting, I think what makes him so good, obviously he's so dynamic and can, score all types of ways, and is just, a freak with the passing and, stretch the floor, all that good stuff. But he's so consistent to where, he's similar to LeBron in a fact where we've seen, LeBron not have the best scoring nights, where the ball is just not really falling. But he's, has 15 assists, or he has 10 rebounds. And I think Jokic is that on steroids, because not only, if the three's not falling, most of his shots are in the paint. So it's really high percentage stuff. Secondly, he's 7 foot something. He's going to get a lot of boards. And then lastly, if things really aren't falling in the paint, he can get his teammates open, and he's really a smart basketball player. So he's always going to really have pretty much consistent games. That's why you always see him kind of averaging that triple double. And it seems kind of effortless for him. Of course, I'm not diminishing his, how hard it is to do that, but he's just so consistent as a basketball player. So if you have Jamal Murray have an electric night of 40, and then all of a sudden he kind of stays hot for a couple games, that's that's got to be just a killer, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, to your point, right? Like Jokic in the playoffs is just unfair how effortlessly he makes it. Like his playoff averages, and this is like all throughout his entire career. So this is not me just cherry picking the best years, the best playoff. He averages 27.4 points, 12.2 rebounds, and 7.7 assists. And that's through 87 games in the postseason so far in his career. And through those 87 careers, that is a ridiculous average that, listen, I love Michael Jordan, maybe the points, but he's not sniffing those rebounds and assist numbers. You love LeBron James, he's not sniffing those numbers. Like, he is just making it really hard that if you want to include him out of the top 5 centers by the time it's all said and done, which, I think he's got quite a few years in the left tank, like, he's going to make you look like an idiot for it, I think. Like, these numbers are just getting outrageous with him.
Yeah, you could make an argument that he's already it's probably going to be crazy, but he's a top 10 player to ever play.
He's easily going to go down top 10.
And I think you have, this is a perfect transition. Another guy who I think is already top 10 is Steph, man. And he's going to have his hands full with this Minnesota team. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota comes out the West.
Yeah.
They're a good squad, man. They're high energy. From Jaden Daniels to even Rudy Gobert is playing at a high level. And then you obviously have Julius Randle, you got Ant, you got DiVincenzo giving really, really solid minutes. And then Mike Conley, the veteran assassin, come off the bench. And I think him and Steph are going to have some great matchups. And of course, Ant will probably be on Steph a little bit more. But I think Ant and Jimmy Butler, that's going to be prime time. Because Jimmy Butler's kind of has that same kind of persona, that same energy towards the other team, the respect for the competitive nature. Like, they both really have that. And I think it's going to be really fun to see them go at it. I think Minnesota walks away with this one, but I think it's going to go like game 6 or 7 for sure.
Yeah, I misspoke there a little bit. I do think the Timberwolves win the series, but you picked them to come out of the West?
Well, I just said I wouldn't be surprised. I think it will I don't know who's going to win the OKC Nuggets one, but I wouldn't be like, if the Nuggets win, I wouldn't be surprised if the T-Wolves knock them out. And if OKC wins, I could see a scenario where Minnesota, just kind of plays bully ball and gets them out of there. And Ant just declares himself as the best player in the world. And so I could see that possibility happening.
Yeah, it's interesting for the Nuggets have a brutal road, right? I think, that Clippers team was loaded with Kawhi Leonard, James Harden. I'm not even going to say Ben Simmons anymore. He played 5 minutes in that last game. His career is really just a crazy one to follow. I think the most he played in any of those games that series was 13 minutes. Like, they just didn't trust him at all out there, so you can't even really include him in that mix. But
I think there'll be a docuseries on him in a couple years.
There has to be. It's one of the most interesting falls we've ever seen. Like, that highly touted out LSU. However, the only cons on his, NBA prospect card were effort questions. Kind of ironic how much that turned out to be true, more true than I think whoever wrote that mock-up ever even thought of how right he was. But that was one of the concerns after talking to some of the LSU staff down there. Is like, there's times he's just checked out. When it's like when the best player on your team is in the biggest moment and he's checked out, it's a harder thing to figure out, like, just psychologically, like, how do you even get checked out in those moments? But, they didn't use him in those games for those exact reasons. They just didn't trust him in the biggest moments. But that was a brutal team to get through. And now you got the best team in the West, arguably the best team overall. When you really look at their record, if you put them in the East, how many more wins do they get? It's probably a decent amount. So probably you're looking at the best team in the entire NBA right now, win-loss rise. And those guys, you can get through them. You mentioned it. Then you get the Timberwolves, most likely. I think the Timberwolves win this series. And the Timberwolves are purely built to beat the Nuggets. Like, that is why that team got constructed in the first place. It's we need somebody, Rudy Gobert in particular, we need some way to slow down Jokic in this Nuggets offense, especially the way that Aaron Gordon catches us with our pants down on all these backdoor cuts. We need an elite rim protector. And that's who they go and get. And so I mean, if he does this, you beat the loaded Clippers team, then you beat the Thunder, who, yes, I know the history doesn't say they're a dominant playoff team, but you can't ignore the record. And then if you beat the Timberwolves, who are specifically beat you, and the Timberwolves at this point would have just beat LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and then obviously they'd be moving on to the Nuggets. And if the Nuggets pull that off, they probably get a game against with the Celtics. I'd imagine you could maybe throw the Cavs in there. And if they win that, Jokic goes down as one of the best playoff runs we've seen. I mean, that's what's at stake for the Nuggets. I don't feel comfortable saying that's what's going to happen. I unfortunately do think, as somebody who enjoys watching Jokic play, I think that Timberwolves team is built really well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the Western Conference Finals. And I'll be honest, like if I really had to pick a team, I'd probably go with the Timberwolves to come out of the West, which is crazy when you look at the seeding and how this worked out. But if you look at the win-loss records, you realize nobody was really ever that far away outside of the Thunder, who just did a lot of damage through their youth and being able to run teams down, especially late in the season. Who do you feel good with coming out of the West? Like, that's kind of what's at stake for me is, the great Jokic run where he could put down a stamp saying he is definitely the best player in the world, or the Timberwolves, finally catch some big time relevancy as a contender and a finals winner.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Timberwolves, probably because I watched that series the closest, so heavy bias here, of course. But I think also like the OKC scenario, them coming out the West. I mean, I could see that happening. So I wouldn't be surprised there. I think the Steph, and I think honestly the scenario that you're talking about with Jokic being the greatest finals run, how about, I mean, let's just be real. How about Anthony Edwards beats, Lakers had two Hall of Famers, Luka and LeBron. I mean, Luka eventually will be, assuming. And then he beats Steph and Jimmy Butler. And then he beats Jokic. And then he gets to the finals and plays, Boston and and possibly wins that. That would be a great story too,
It's the only difference between those stories though is I love Anthony Edwards. He's a great player and he is a big factor in a lot of those wins, but they're dominating a lot as a team more so. Like when Jokic is out there, really outside of that game 7 versus the Clippers, like it just entirely runs through him. It does run through Anthony Edwards that time, but like that game, their last game, that was the Rudy Gobert game where he just dominated the Lakers.
I could understand that.
So there's still, and he's a young player, right? Like he's going to have more of these playoff, and I think he is going to be better, and he's going to be just catching all these stars. But he isn't to the point to where he is just flat out the guy to stop in these games. Like he can have some bad games, and an effect that it doesn't hurt his team the same way if Jokic has a bad game. The Nuggets really don't have a shot at winning for how much is just predicated around him having a good game. Maybe not in the points department, but at the very least, like he's going to have to put up 7, 10 assists and a bunch of rebounds if he doesn't have a good shooting night. So he'll still be a big contributor in that win. I said it might be the greatest run. I still think Dirk Nowitzki's probably going to go down as having the all-time best playoff run, but that one would definitely be something to remember if Jokic is able to pull this off. That being said, I already mentioned it. I think the Timberwolves are somehow going to sneak their way into the finals. How much it matters if the Timberwolves get there is what's kind of bothersome because the West is going to cannibalize itself. I still think this is the year where the Celtics just sneakily run away with it when nobody talked about them. Everybody was focused on the West, and the Celtics at the end of the finals are, maybe even it's a gentleman's sweep, are just going to quietly walk away with another finals.
I could see it. I could really see it happening. And Boston's a solid team. And who they got? Do they have the Knicks?
I believe they have the Knicks right now. Let me pull up. I do got the NBA playoffs.
I have it right here. Yeah, Knicks and Celtics, and then Pacers and Cavs. We'll get on that on the next segment. But I think the Celtics running away with it. I don't really see like a big opponent for them. Like, even though the Cavs are one, like, and they're playing great and their coach just got coach of the year, like, I don't even see it being a real a real backyard brawl. Like, I could see Celtics gentlemen sweeping the Cavs.
I might have misspoke here. real quick here. Just, I don't know. I missed this game because I was working. I knew they were playing. I didn't read too much into it. I should have. Knicks beat the Celtics today in overtime. So Celtics are actually down 0-1 in this series, 105 to 108.
Oh, boy.
The Knicks get it done. They won an overtime game. Should have started off with that game right there. That makes it a little bit more interesting for the Boston Celtics. Now, however, it's one game. Didn't the Heat do that as well and steal one from them right out of the gates, and the Celtics ended up dominating?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure that happened last year as well.
Yeah, so I'm still going to go with the Celtics, I think, but it does make things interesting. But knowing that that took overtime, the Knicks won it, clawing tooth and nail, you tip your cap to them. But if even being up 1-0 and stealing one on the road, I still have a lot more confidence in the Celtics. With that being said, though, we are up to our first break here, and I should mention we are back on the brick and mortar. Royals, they come out with a win in their game. I believe they're playing the woeful Chicago White Sox. Yes, the Chicago White Sox dropped to 10-25. Royals win it 3-0. Royals advance to a 20-16 record. With that being said, we'll throw out the break here. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington? We got a couple more segments. Don't go anywhere.
Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's becoming a wild ride in the car market these days, but Koppel wants to let you know and assure you that we are staying the course with our usual pricing model. We've still got huge discounts and low interest rates, so let's get after it. We've got over $12,500 off list price or 0% APR right now on select new vehicles. New and pre-owned, our lots are full, so now's the time to buy. Please stop on in the dealership or check us out at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Stock number G187747. All deals with roof credit.
Electrical Enterprises in Roca reminds you the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. Let's honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty and salute those who serve today. This from Electrical Enterprises in Roca. For all your residential and commercial electrical construction needs, call 402-438-5822. They're on the air reminding everyone that we live in the land of the free thanks to the brave.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger, and you can get started now by saving when you join today. We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need, and you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Find your nearest club and join today. Deal ends Friday, May 16th.
See Home Club for details.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger, and you can get started now by saving when you join today. We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need, and you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Find your nearest club and join today. Deal ends Friday, May 16th.
See Home Club for details.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Out here on Nebraska's calm, welcoming waters, fishing is a breeze. It's the sweet spot where solo anglers find quiet before the catch, families reel in memories, and first-timers discover what makes fishing so special. From the Panhandle to the Platte, the best fishing happens here, beneath Nebraska skies. Get started at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington, segment 2 and 3 coming your way. We're going to combine these two as we can get back synced up with the clocks here. So a little bit of extra content for you guys as, again, the Royals wrapped up. So we're taking over for the rest of the night for this nightcap, bringing Chancellor Brewington back in, talked a lot of NBA segment 1 here. And I think we're going to do some more of the same. But first, I do got a little bit of trivia for you, and I want to see if you can get this one right. Obviously, I'm sure you're aware of it. Greg Popovich retires. 29 seasons. Incredible that he has coached within that Spurs organization. The coaching that long in the NBA, let alone all to do it for one organization. With 29 years, who now in all of pro sports, we're not talking college sports, who is the longest tenured head coach today? Who has been on that same team, on that same contract? Obviously, the contract has updates with the pay and everything, but he's still there after that first contract. You got to guess in all of pro sports, who's the longest tenured head coach that's left now that Popovich has retired?
Oh my gosh. It's not hockey, is it?
Not hockey.
Okay. Trying to think who's the
I'll give you a hint with NFL to kind of
It's NFL?
Yeah, to clear the waters, because I think a lot of people don't think NFL because they think of like, oh well, Bill Belichick's gone now. Think about all Pete Carroll's gone now. So they might not want to go, but it is in the NFL.
Oh boy. Okay. So,
and this name makes a ton of sense. What you think of coaches that have just constantly been in the NFL? I mean, this guy is, if you don't get it right and then I say it, you'll be like, I'm an idiot. I should have knew it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking, I mean, when did Harbaugh get there? No.
You're really close with Harbaugh. Like you're 1 year off with him. It's not Harbaugh, but you're in the waters. The morning personnel couldn't get this, and it pissed him off when I gave him the answer.
Okay, so I'm guessing it has to be a winning team, a decently winning team, because who the heck would keep a coach that loses?
Oh, you're so true with that statement right there. Has to be good. Okay. To the point to where they've never been bad once, or at least.
Well, I mean, I'll go Andy Reid.
No, that was his first guess too. Andy Reid, Eagles, and Chiefs. That's 2 tenures.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Give me one more. Okay. So not obviously Belichick. You kind of messed me up with that one, Bill. But
yeah, they still got to be coaching today. Like that's the caveat. They're still coaching.
For the same team, same program, hasn't been cut or released or fired, whatever. Okay. So I'm thinking, who's a winning franchise? Eagles? No.
402-464-5685. See if you can beat Brewington to it. Longest tenured coach left.
Eagles, not Chiefs. Ravens are a good team. Who else is a good team?
I don't know why this team escapes everybody's mind in terms of being consistently good.
Oh, my gosh.
The most consistent of consistent.
I mean, I was going to go Pete Carroll, but no.
Yeah, he's no longer there. I mean, he was at the Seahawks, but now he's at the Raiders. So that one's cut short.
Yeah.
And even then, Pete Carroll got there in 2010. This guy got here in 2007. And Harbaugh that you mentioned was 2008.
07. So it has to be he had to have been relatively young there. Green Bay, no. Oh my gosh, Harrison, this is a rough one. Mike Tomlin?
Yes. Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin. Yeah, that's what I mean. You were so right with it. It has to be consistent. Yeah, they've never gone with a losing season. It's been 500 or winning seasons only with Mike Tomlin up in there with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, with Greg Popovich's retirement, that leaves him. He's the lone one now. Got there in 07. First guess was really good. Harbaugh of the Ravens, 08. And then Andy Reid, I couldn't tell you, but the 10-year split, I know he's not in the conversation. And then Pete Carroll was 2010, but he isn't coaching anymore and he's with the Raiders anyways, but just to put that out there. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. You go from 29 seasons to, I think Tomlin, this will be, 18 seasons now.
Jeez.
It seems so obvious. I don't know why, but Mike Tomlin escapes the mind of people when they're thinking of like coaches that have been tenured for that long. Yeah, cigar guy got it right as well. Mike Tomlin, congratulations. Unfortunately, I wish I had some prizes to give out for that one because I don't know what that question is, but it stumps people because I think it is because Mike Tomlin's such a young-looking coach. You don't really think of him being there since 07.
Yeah, he black don't crack, baby.
You can say it. I can't. We'll leave it at that. Moving on here. But yeah, real quick, Greg Popovich, 5-time NBA champion, 3-time coach of the year, goes down as the winningest most coach in NBA history. So he deserves all the flowers. Fantastic. The amount of players that he had, Robinson, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, Kawhi Leonard. He got Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul at the very end there. He will only be remembered as extremely fondly as one of the best coaches to do it, not only in the NBA, but in all of pro sports. All right, Brewington. Like I said, we're combining segments 2 and 3. So I wanted to throw that trivia out there to get a little bit of extra airtime here. Where do you want to go? We got about 15 minutes left on air here.
Yeah, so I guess we can wrap up with the NBA bracket on the East side and talk through. I mean, the Pacers, Cavs. I mean, Indy's leading right now. Is that kind of like New York leading over the Celtics? Is that kind of like you don't pay that too much mind, or where are you at with that one?
You said with the Knicks leading it now, 1-0?
Yeah, then the second part was the Pacers are leading the Cavs right now.
Yeah, it's 1-0. I mean, the Cavs, I wouldn't be, my jaw would not hit the floor if the Pacers advance. Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know if you're the person I talked to about, but the fact that he got the most overrated player voted on by his peers, this has got to be a fun little revenge tour by him. It's like, that's why I'm in the second round of the playoffs, because I'm overrated. Okay. He's been playing phenomenal. The Pacers are really good. They got Pascal. Yeah, they're just a really deep team that has a fantastic offense. Again, we're talking playoffs for them to get 121 versus the Cavs, who have the defense player of the year and Evan Mobley. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the Pacers find a way to win it. And that Cavaliers record, I love them for it because I think they play NBA the right way. They just don't believe in load management over there. So all their guys, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Out, they're playing. They're playing every regular season game if they're healthy. So you have a lot of those quote-unquote load management games that maybe your Lakers, maybe the Nuggets, any of those other good teams might have taken that end up being losses. The Cavs just never participate in load management, and I think you see that as a result. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers win it. It does change a lot that the Pacers do that. Like if I was a betting man, which right. I'm not, 1-800 bets off, I'd probably like to put money on the Pacers for this one. Knicks, though, I'm sorry. I'm just not buying it. You scrape by overtime. It's a huge win. It definitely makes the series more interesting, but I'm much more convinced that the Celtics just didn't have the best night, and they still went to overtime. They just barely lost it. I think I would still wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a gentleman's sweep or at the very most a 4-2 series between the Celtics and Knicks. Where are you at,
I'm kind of torn. I think it might have been a fluke. I'm saying might have, because I'm looking at the stats, and the alarming stat is that Indiana shot 52% from a 3-point line, and the Cavs shot 23%. And Donovan Mitchell shot 11 threes and made one of them, and still had 33 points. That's ridiculous stat. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's the Pacers though. All offense. That's what they live on is offense.
Yeah. So I mean, if they can, if they can obviously find a sweet spot around 35 to 40% at three. I mean, I could see it maybe, but I think the Cavs are gonna pick it up, and I think they're gonna be all right. So I don't know how much I read into that. I think it's more. I think that one will be interesting. I could see this one going to 7. Seriously.
It is a little bit of like a litmus test for the Celtics and the Cavaliers, because we just haven't really talked about them a whole lot. Maybe because it's when you have a team that's dominant, that's just kind of wiping the floor with everybody. 82 games in, it starts to become a little bit tiresome to talk about this team just dominating once again. But then you do get to the playoffs, things slow down a little bit. And I don't know, whatever it is about the Celtics gives me a lot of confidence. I think it's just they've been there. They've been through the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals woes so many times that they have that experience of being down and not panicking anymore. When in years prior, that's all they did. Anytime they found themselves down in a series they should win was hit the panic button. The Cavaliers, though, they might be what OKC Thunder were last year. Like, really good record, not there yet. And you're going to take a beating to figure out what that playoff game kind of looks like. I'm still just locked in on the Celtics coming out of the East. Like, that's the only thing I feel good about, despite it, being that 1-0 start for the New York Knicks. And I know Brunson, he's coming into his own. Still going to go with the Celtics because if Tatum doesn't have it, well, Brown probably does. If Brown doesn't have it, Porzingis is still on that squad. You might even, get the Cannon or Al Horford game. So it's just, I'm pretty locked in with the Celtics. Everybody else in the East, I just couldn't tell you a whole lot about. The Pacers are fun in terms of maybe they can make some upsets, but at the end of the day, the Eastern Conference Finals, I still think it's going to go through the Celtics. That's just where I'm at on it. It's certainly between the West and the East, the less interesting of the two. It's a lot easier to kind of read these routes. If you're going to pick any upset in the East, who are you going with? Like a genuine upset, and you can count the Cavaliers as an upset to beat the Celtics and possible a Eastern Conference Finals, but the only way I see it right now, it's through Boston.
Yeah, I think the upset for me, so you're saying either Pacers winning, beating the Cavs, or the Knicks beating the Celtics?
Pretty much. And then beating in my mind, whoever comes out of that Pacers Cavs, you're going to have to beat the Celtics to get to the finals. Good luck.
I mean, yeah, let's say Indy gets it done. Let's say they go 2-0. They start off 2-0 and then, they bounce them and they bounce the Cavs in 6. Well, you're going to have to face a probably a pissed off Celtics team. Right. Probably because this Knicks series is probably going to go a little bit longer than they probably hoped for.
Mm-hmm. Great for the NBA, though. I'll tell you what, that's a moneymaker. You get Madison Square Garden and you get the Celtics. Like, that's two biggest franchises right there in the second round of the playoffs. You want this one to go to Game 7. So if you're a believer in fixing games, this would be a one to keep an eye on for any crumbs that you can maybe make some accusations on.
Yeah, that's a great point. If we're being honest, you want the Thunder Nuggets, you want T-Wolves and War, you want all these going to 7 because this is good basketball. And I feel like Gilbert Arenas said this, and I think I want to say Shaq or Kenny Smith said this. He said the regular season was one of the better regular seasons we've had in the past, 7 years.
Yeah.
And so, just already looking at first round of the playoffs, Thunder, Grizzlies, that's a quick one. Wasn't much there, but Nuggets, Clippers was awesome. Lakers, Timberwolves, that wasn't what it was projected to be. So you didn't really get much out of that. The Rockets, Warriors was awesome. The Cavs, Heat didn't get much there. Sweep. Pacers, Bucks didn't get much there. Knicks, Pistons didn't get much there. And Celtics, Magic. So there's only been a couple really, really good, enticing series. So you really want these to go to 7. If you're an NBA and as, the league and big commish, I would imagine that there might be some calls going certain ways. That's obviously speculative, going to further these series longer and longer.
Yeah. And, I wouldn't call the Lakers Nuggets not boring. We got to witness the Rudy Gobert game. Exhilarating. First time we really got to see him have that dominant performance. I mean, like Rudy Gobert, he's got to play. If the Nuggets, excuse me, not the Nuggets, if the Timberwolves are going to take that next step, it really is the Rudy Gobert window. It's crazy. I've been too hard on him, I think, in the past, but like if he could just do what he did in that Lakers game, and I get it, JJ Redick wasn't really playing Jackson Hayes either. There's no options for center, anybody that could stop Gobert in that game. But that's exactly what everybody begs Rudy Gobert to do is when you notice that, take advantage of it. And he did. He finally took advantage of it. And like, that's what happens when he gets assertive and making sure he gets his. It's like, that's all anybody's ever wanted out of Rudy Gobert. Is when you have that mismatch, you're still a great athlete at that age, at that size. Like when we see guys that big, like he doesn't get enough credit for being as coordinated as he is. Like we just rarely don't see guys at that size, that wingspan, especially getting to that age, still have that nice balance with him. Doesn't have to be an offensive mastermind, but the rebounding in the defense in particular, like if he can just be dominant there and then go get his points when he does have that mismatch, then the Timberwolves become a serious threat. So that game didn't play out how you might expect, but I do think it was exciting and it caught a lot of eyes, not only because the Lakers are playing and their big money team, but also, just you were kind of waiting for Luka to take over or LeBron James to take over. Instead, you saw both of those guys really struggle. In particular with Luka, the conditioning department, which I'm sure Nico Harrison quietly grins somewhere in a dark corner. Mm-hmm. And then LeBron James, who he's just 40. And nobody likes to talk about, LeBron James when he's playing great. They talk about how amazing he's doing all this at 40. And then when he's playing bad, everyone says, well, he's 40. What do you expect? So you got an interesting little balance and argument between the Lakers and just the LeBron people who praise him and the people who want to put some criticism in his game. Whichever side you fall on, you get a ton. I mean, he's another lightning rod of sports for a reason. So they made some money on that. But yeah, with the Lakers being out now, the West has just really a bunch of small market teams. Outside of the Warriors, Timberwolves, small market, Nuggets, small market, and why am I blanking? Thunder, small market teams. All great teams, all small markets. The Warriors really saved their butts by beating the Rockets in Game 7. Because having the Rockets in that mix as well, you're getting all the small market teams in the West. The East, you still got the Knicks and you still got the Celtics, the two biggest possible markets out there in the Eastern Conference. So those guys are sitting fine there. But to your point, yeah, I'm curious to see what these NBA playoff numbers are going to be when it's all said and done. Because it does feel like a year that's been a lot better than in years prior.
Yeah, the landscape of the NBA is shifting, and I think this year is going to, like, who comes out on top is going to tell a large part of the story. And I think particularly in the West, because I think that's where the NBA kind of leans towards is what's happening in the West. Because the East, even if Boston wins, like it will be like the NBA will shift around who wins the West. Like, even if Boston sweeps the West team, like, it will still be who win the West because, I mean, you're trying to be the number one team. And we've seen that with the Nuggets. And we've seen that. You already talked about how the T-Wolves got formed with, trying to compete with the Nuggets. So if OKC comes out the West, I mean, teams are going to be competing on how we can beat OKC. So,
it's a good time for the NBA, to say the very least, like to be able to have these conversations. You're still waiting for the East, but again, you're seeing the Pacers sneak one on the Cavs and also the Knicks sneak one on the Celtics. So maybe these series would be a lot more interesting than anybody initially gave it credit for. Wrapping things up here, though, let's have a little bit of fun with this one. Did you hear about the Sharon Moore switching to college football in Michigan? And we'll tie in the Huskers with it. The suspension they got all the way back to the Connor Stallions thing once again.
Yeah, so I heard part of it. I heard that he's going to be suspended for the Nebraska game.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the most bizarre punishment I've ever seen. So I don't know how they landed on the first two games. He gets to be there, but we'll decide games 3 and 4, you're not allowed. Also, I mean, this is not 1 year after, not 2 years. This is 3 years after we're finally having the punishment, and it's a 2-game suspension. And Jim Harbaugh served a 3-game suspension already that the NCAA didn't even put down. As the Big Ten got together and said, okay, if the NCAA isn't going to do anything about this, Jim, we're calling you out here. Sit out 3 games. And that was like the Big Ten's decision to do that. It's laughable how long this stuff takes for the NCAA sometimes. Like 3 years after the fact, and it's only a 2-game suspension. When you got quote, 52 level 1 accusations of them wrongdoing, and level 1 is what they deemed the highest problem. So I get it. You can say, and Michigan's argument is, well, those numbers are inflated. They're not even denying it. They're just saying they're slightly inflated. And you come with a 2-game suspension. Like, it's unreal. It tells you if you're a moneymaker and you're a blue blood, they're going to look the other way for you. Like, that's what I get out of this. Like, to me, this is, it's hitting the point of just ludicrous. Like, 3 years later, it's a 2-game suspension. Also, there's the caveat. They're still investigating Brewington, by the way. This isn't case closed yet. They're still going through it. So I don't know what the next decision is going to be. If it's just going to be a paper fine. But, yeah, he won't be there for Michigan. Why he doesn't have to – why don't they just make it a 4-game suspension? They got the freshman quarterback. They want to make sure games 1 and 2, he's there so they can get things in line. And then 2 games in, make sure everything's good. I can't understand why the first 2 games they're not suspended, and it's games 3 and 4. And on top of that, why it's happening 3 years later, and it just being a 2-game suspension is silly. If the NCAA is serious and saying, no, we know for a fact it's 52 level 1 accusations, it's not a 2-game suspension by any regards and anything they've done in the past in their book. But Michigan's an exception for some reason. There's my rant on it. I just want to get your 2 cents on it because it makes 0 sense how they operate sometimes.
No, I'm not mad at it. I think, I'm not mad at your rant. I mean, but no, I don't, it's just like the NCAA, it's just like never get your hopes up or never expect much. Like, that's like midway through the year when, people are saying, send that into the commissioner or send that tape into the Big Ten, based on the officials, lack of calls. And like, it sounds great in the moment, like send it in, we're going to petition this. And then it's like, well, what's going to happen? Cause it's just the mode, it's just the way the NCAA does things. Like, you don't, you start paying players and then you say, yeah, we'll just pay, the last 5 years of players to make up for the last 100 years of NCAA cruelness to student athletes. It's been consistent and nothing is, I don't see it changing. Like, it's not going to change. They're their own power and there's nobody really above them. So why would they change? Right. So the way they handle things is like, you kind of just look at it and kind of just, it's almost comical at this point.
It really is. How they have this much power and their inability to use it effectively ever is just always, it blows my mind. Like, they drag their feet on NAL. That's how we get this situation. The Michigan stuff, I just don't think they're really that serious about it. Like, I think whoever's working on the case just collecting checks and is like, you know what, we'll work on this case for like 3 years. Maybe we'll turn it into 4 years and, suspend another assistant coach for a game, but we'll make it game 5, not game 1. It's bizarre. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but like I said, there's my 2 cents on it and Brewington's thoughts on it as well. That's going to wrap it up for us on Ticket Weeknights. Appreciate you guys listening. Chancellor Brewington, appreciate it as always. We'll do it again tomorrow. But like I said, that's going to wrap it up for us. Have a great rest of your Monday night. We'll be back 6 a.m, early break. Steve Sipple, Nick Sainert taking over for Jake Sorensen and Bill Bush as always. They'll talk to you then.